Hello and good afternoon, dear special guests. A warm welcome to our event When Science Creates Magic. On behalf of the Medela team and the expert speaker who are with us today, I want to sincerely thank you for accepting an invitation to this special and one-time event. We are extremely excited and honored to present to you for the very first time our most recent pumping innovation and the amazing science that lies behind it. My name is Natasha Jalu. I am the head of medical affairs for Medela Europe, and I am delighted to announce the agenda we have prepared for you for the next 55 minutes. Our first very special guest, Amanda Ruggieri, a multi-award winning journalist, will first take us on a deep dive about why modern motherhood can be a paradox and so different than it used to be. Our human milk research specialist, Dr. Daniel Prime, and our research and development principal system architect, André Schlinger, will then bring us exclusive insight about the magic of science. And finally, yet most importantly, our European product manager, Sonia Kessler, who will reveal our magic innovation. An important note about the format of the event. The talks were pre-recording to ensure the best experience and give you the amazing opportunity to chat live and ask questions to the speakers while you are listening to them. So please don't be shy and join us to make this session as most interactive as possible. At the end of the event, I will invite our speakers to join us on camera to answer key final questions, and I will provide you with an overview of our upcoming European event featuring our innovation. At this point, it is my pleasure to pass the word to another special guest, our Chief Marketing Officer, Nicole Ketenus-Schwarz, to also welcome you, dear healthcare professional, and open the sessions.
Thank you, Natasha, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome you all, our esteemed guests, to this exciting launch event. Since I joined Medela 4.5 years ago, I have experienced the passion and commitment of you, our partners, and my colleagues around the world to promote breastfeeding, lactation, and the benefits of breast milk. Today marks another step, an important milestone in our 60-year journey of introducing innovative solutions to make a difference. For more than 6 decades, we have remained committed to science and research, ensuring that everything we bring to market is based on evidence, precision engineering, and care. Our focus has always been meeting the real needs of moms, their newborns, and those who care for them, whether in hospital or at home. We recognize that your work is both challenging and deeply impactful. This inspires us to push forward, to push boundaries, and to continue developing science and research-based products that truly meet the needs of mothers on their breastfeeding journey. We know that innovation isn't just about bringing something new to the market. It is about ensuring that we create something that is considered meaningful and impactful. That's why, as we proudly unveil our latest addition to our product portfolio, we want you to know that we remain committed to our mission to enhance outcomes through science and to listen carefully to you, our patients, your patients, and mothers. Thank you for your trust, expertise, and partnership. And like you, I look forward to learning from our guest speakers and to receiving your feedback at the end of the session.
Thank you, Nicole, for your very nice opening. And now I invite our next guest, dear Amanda, to come on stage.
In 2022, while reporting a story for the BBC on the concept of maternal ambivalence, an idea we'll return to later in this talk, I met Libby Ward. Libby is someone who always knew she wanted to be a mother, and she even knew what kind of mother she wanted to be, the kind who prepared homemade meals, kept a perfectly clean house, and was unfailingly patient and kind with her children. If any of this has made you inwardly chuckle, you might be a parent yourself, because you probably realize where I'm going with this. Libby had her first child in 2014 and her second in 2016, and she found mothering was a whole lot harder than she'd expected, particularly with her second baby, who had issues with breastfeeding and with digestion. She felt like she was totally failing. She loved her children, but she felt rage and resentment about what she felt was being asked of her just for her to be a good mother. I couldn't live up to the standards I had set for myself, she told me in our interview, and everything just fell apart. Libby didn't just resent motherhood, she also loved it. It gave her joy and meaning. But did the negative emotions sometimes eclipse those positive ones? Yeah. What Libby didn't know at the time is that all of this was entirely normal. In the scientific literature, it's called maternal ambivalence, feeling conflicting, often contradictory emotions towards motherhood. Ambivalence doesn't mean that a mother loves her child any less. Many mothers who identify with maternal ambivalence are clear that they would do anything for their kids. Instead, the intense worry, stress, and shifting identity that often come with parenting can lead to feelings like rage, despair, or resentment, even side by side with that deep love. We often tell new parents, yeah, raising kids is tiring, but rarely do we give them the space to say, I sometimes resent this entire role. I miss who I used to be, or even I feel a rage that has completely blindsided me. And this is unlikely to be a new phenomenon. Mothers have likely had conflicting feelings about their role for as long as mothers have existed. But motherhood today is also very, very different than it used to be. And from several years now of covering motherhood and parenting as a journalist, including deep diving into the scientific and anthropological literature, speaking to researchers and mothers themselves, and perhaps most importantly, experiencing motherhood myself, I have come to believe that these differences make mothering, in some ways, far more difficult than it used to be. One reason lies in our modern approach to parenting. Although looking after children has always been demanding, contemporary norms can pile on a lot of extra pressure. Mothers are frequently called upon to devote every ounce of energy, attention, and emotional presence to our children. Many of us also work outside the home, often returning to our jobs sooner than we might prefer, and then come home to take on more household tasks. Even while doing all of this, they're exposed to countless tips from social media, books, and acquaintances who proclaim that good children do X, Y, and Z, and good mothers do X, Y, and Z too. This phenomenon is sometimes referred to as intensive mothering, which demands a vast outpouring of time, emotional labor, and diligence, not to mention vigilance in meeting children's every need. It is not unusual, therefore, for mothers to feel that they have little choice but to push themselves to the brink. But in many contemporary societies, it's not even enough to be the perfect mother. You should be a perfect mother while also being an excellent wife or partner, making time for your friendships and socializing, keeping house, staying in shape, and of course, crushing it at work. The ideal mother these days really does do it all. Here's the kicker. Never before have mothers fallen under such intense expectations. Even in the 1950s, which was hardly a time of liberation for women in most countries, a good mother was mainly a housewife and wife. She wasn't expected to pour quite so much into her children. Just think of the whole go outside to play and come back for dinner idea. At the same time, never before have mothers dealt with all of this while often feeling completely alone, lucky to have an attentive and involved partner at most. It's hard to underscore just how strange and unique this is. For the vast majority of human existence, we did not raise babies as nuclear families in isolation. I drew a lot for my understanding of this on the work of anthropologist Sarah Blaffer Hardy, an emerita professor at the University of California, Davis, who I've interviewed before. And her work has been completely groundbreaking in understanding how we parented for the 95% of human evolutionary history in which we were hunter-gatherers. So consider this. Human babies are born the neediest of all infant mammals. They enter the world requiring constant care for a relatively long period of time. Even a 2-year-old isn't exactly ready to strike out on their own. This is even different than other primate cousins. Apes might also breastfeed around at least 3 years of age, but they can also cling to their mother's fur and hold their heads up almost from birth. Human newborns can't even do that. Yet, in the challenging environments in which humans lived for thousands of years, where every bit of food had to be foraged or hunted, every drop of water found, how could mothers have managed to acquire enough food to sustain themselves and this tiny human at the same time and for so many months? Hardy realized that they couldn't. Instead, they must have relied on a network of other caregivers and people helping to provision them from birth. This system is called alloparenting, and it is well documented in many groups still living a foraging lifestyle. The Efe of Central Africa, for example, are one fairly extreme example. Babies are responded to very promptly when they cry or need tending. That's a theme seen across these societies. But it's also not always by the mother. At just 18 weeks old, Efe infants already spend 60% of their time being cared for by multiple people other than their mother, and they're often breastfed by someone else too. This extensive sharing of responsibilities ensures that neither mother nor child is left to cope alone. But alloparenting isn't confined to foraging societies. We have plenty of evidence of it in agricultural communities too, including the Beng, a pre-industrial farming society. Research shows that for the Beng, the waking and even sleeping hours of Beng infants are marked by a high level of active social interaction with a large number of people. Here, women often return to field work at about 3 months postpartum, leaving their little ones in the village with multiple babysitters. Babies get shuffled from one caretaker to another on average every 30 minutes. This rotation often involves older children, and it's simply regarded as a normal component of daily life. So, whether we're talking about foragers or farmers, we know that for centuries upon centuries, humans managed infant care collectively. What changed? Well, one major transformation was the Industrial Revolution, which took hold in Europe and North America in the 18th and 19th centuries and spread worldwide in waves. Factory jobs, long working hours, and urban migration all meant that many people left their extended families behind or had less time to devote to extended kin networks. Households shrank in size, and mothers were increasingly left without that familiar age-old support. In many ways, the result wasn't so great, not just for mothers, but also for their babies. Some mothers became so desperate, even just to get some peace at night, they resorted to using narcotics like opium to keep their children drowsy and quiet while they tried to get by. An extreme example of just how stressful this type of parenting could be. Luckily, we now know not to spoon feed our kids opium, no matter how much we might need a rest. And there is a lot to be thankful for in terms of parenting today versus in the past. Perhaps chief among that must be our better child mortality rates and child health, thanks to vaccinations, better maternal and infant care, and even just our awareness of things like the importance of breastfeeding. In parts of Europe, almost 1 in 2 children died before the age of 5 in the 1800s. Today, globally, it's less than 1 in 25 children. Even so, this societal rearrangement of families to be parenting in isolated units has stuck. And if anything, it's intensified. Not only that, but economic factors mean that many families can't afford to have only one person earning an income, especially in light of the modern costs of living. In the European Union, over 6 in 10 households with kids rely on 2 incomes. What does all of this mean for the average mother? Well, it can translate to feeling as though she's juggling 2 full-time jobs, working outside the home or remotely, and coming home to a second shift of domestic responsibilities: cooking, cleaning, child wrangling, activity planning, and the mental load of scheduling and administrative work for the family. Meanwhile, support for parents, including mothers, just hasn't kept pace with the demands of modern life. Some of the world's wealthiest countries offer fewer than 4 months of maternity leave. Childcare is also expensive. In dual income families in the UK, more than 50% of the average woman's full-time income goes to childcare. In Switzerland, around a third of a family's full-time income does. And while we might imagine that advanced technology and wealth would make parenting easier, in some respects, it can do the opposite. Even though modern conveniences help with tasks like laundry or food preparation, they don't lighten that deeply internal pressure of being a good mom. In fact, social media often magnifies this pressure by showing curated, highlight reel moments that can make mothers feel like they're constantly falling short. Mothers might admit to their closest friends that parenting is hard, but rarely are they encouraged to say, "I regret the role of motherhood. I'm resentful," or "I feel like I'm losing myself," not without receiving, most likely, some backlash. But maternal ambivalence isn't a personal shortcoming. It's a logical response to difficult and, I think, truly unprecedented circumstances. I think that what helps in these moments, whether it is a mom who is telling you they are struggling or whether you're the one having a hard time, is to try to let go of shame. And remember that historically, mothers would not have done any of this alone. We had neighbors, grandparents, aunts, siblings, all of them around all the time, whether we liked it or not. And in many places in the world today, this is still the norm. Babies and toddlers still require just as much relentless attention and resourcing as they did 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 years ago. But putting so much pressure on one person, the mother, to meet them is historically unprecedented. I believe that the more we acknowledge what a tough hand we've been dealt in some ways today, the less guilt mothers will carry. And we also need to spark broader conversations about reviving that concept of it takes a village to raise a child. Admittedly, we can't all revert to living in extended family compounds or small hunter-gatherer groups, nor would all of us want to. But we can implement communal, policy-level, or neighborhood-wide changes that lighten the load on families. This might include better parental leave policies, more affordable childcare, flexible work arrangements, and social support groups that are realistic and candid about the day-to-day challenges. As with so much else, some particularly inspiring examples of how this could look, especially policy-wise, come from the Nordic countries. Let's take paid leave. In Finland, for example, mothers get 8 weeks of paid maternity leave, plus a further 14 months of paid parental leave to be split between the parents, and additional childcare leave that can be applied until a child turns 3. In Sweden, parents can now transfer leave days to grandparents or friends, an excellent example of how alloparenting can be supported in the modern context. Policies that support mothers and families and allow them flexible caregiving arrangements that don't penalize them, whether they want to stay home longer or go back to work earlier, are important. But there's another change that has to happen on a society-wide level too. That, I think, is to be kinder and more understanding to mothers, and a whole lot less judgmental. Today, Libby Ward is not just a mother of 2, but a social media influencer. On TikTok and Instagram, she now talks openly about the messy, complicated aspects of parenting that used to be hushed. Her platforms have gained more than 1 million followers, largely because so many other mothers appreciate hearing someone say out loud, "It's okay if you're struggling. It's okay if you need help. And you're not less of a mother for having messy feelings." Thank you.
So welcome, we're so excited to be here today. My name's Danielle and I have Andre there in the lab who is
Hello, everyone.
Joining us. So we're going to talk to you today about the magic of science and the different clinical and technical aspects that we have incorporated into this new Magic InBrow pump. Now, to kick off the session, I want to talk about wearable pumps more in general and the magic that they bring to mums. And while there's not a lot of literature out there on wearable pumps, there are a couple of really nice papers that have targeted insights from mothers who are physicians. So these studies interviewed mothers who are physicians and their experiences with wearable pumps. And as you can see in the quotation on the top left of this slide, wearable pumps allow these physician mothers to express milk inconspicuously while working, commuting, moving around their clinical sites, which can create more efficient time management and eventuate them leaving that clinical setting earlier, which, when you think about our former speaker's presentation, this is obviously a clear benefit to mums who are really attempting in this day and age to do it all. Now, the statistical data these publications bring forward is that the physician mothers using wearable rather than traditional pumps, they report shorter lactation breaks and they're more likely to be able to provide milk to their infants for their full intended duration. So there is clearly value in a wearable pump in mums being better supported to meet their goals. But what have we done with Magic in what we're considering here as perhaps the next big step in wearable pump technology? And so what we're going to go through today is, first of all, the scientifically thought out design. We have really worked hard to invest time and energy into making sure the design of the Magic pump really supports the delicate breast tissue and allows milk to flow freely. We're going to talk to you about a technology regarding flow sensors and how we have really attempted to elicit as much milk as possible from that first big milk ejection. And finally, we'll talk you through the fluid film technology itself, which really allows the magic to happen. So let's start with the scientifically thought out design. Now, when it comes to the design, we really have partnered with mothers. We know that the lactating breast is really complex and really unique, and we continue to discover new elements of its makeup every year. And what you can see on screen in the image is that it's got an intricate makeup of teeny tiny milk ducts, which are the transport highways, allowing that milk to go from the alveoli out through the nipple. And they're very delicate and they live very close to the surface of the skin. And so knowing about this complex and unique makeup of the lactating breast, or at least the internal makeup, we endeavoured to explore developing the external makeup knowledge base. And so we developed a 3D breast and upper body scan database, which is the first of its kind in the world. We partnered with universities, we've done our own clinical studies, and we really developed this knowledge database that we could then throw to our engineers like Andre and try to get them to help translate that clinical value and technical value together.
Yes, and yeah, we were actually happy to get these things because it was key to us to look into the real anatomy and the physiology and to generate the know-how for the next big thing as we have it today. So true innovation, and that should last long. And yeah, we want to have this, of course, supported by analysis from the real thing. So it's actually also a story about research to technology. So how do we then transform this know-how into a technological solution? So, and even such a little thing as a breast shield angle, as you see here, it still carries a high potential to be improved, and at the end eventually leads to higher performance. So we took a breast shield, we put it onto the scans we had, or scans from a kind of couple of anatomies, and we checked where are the contact points under load, without load, and we experimented then with different designs. And if you see on the right hand side, we have switched the opening angle of the breast shield, and we find the sweet spot of a new opening angle 105 degrees. So it not a real big change, but it was actually then really generating more milk, 11% more milk, 4% more breast drainage with such a simple change. But of course, we need to know about it, and we really then need to take it into a solution.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so we did validate this whole insight through a full randomized controlled trial, which is always fun because you always get new insights when you conduct a study. And so what we discovered, and I've got this now here on the left side, is that when we looked at which area of the breast, that new opening angle of the breast shield was best fitting, when the fit was not great and we had a contact point quite sharp into the underside of the breast, then we saw associations with poorer breast drainage. And so what was really clear from that study is that we really need to protect the underside of the breast, because these lower underside quadrants here are particularly susceptible to compression. And so now when we consider a wearable pump, then we had to throw a new challenge to Andre and the team, because now this wearable pump is being put into a bra, which is applying some compression. So Andre?
Yeah, so what actually changes when we have an in-bra device? So when you see it on the right-hand side, there is a bra there, and this bra actually has an effect. It keeps the breast tissue in position, as you all know, but it would also keep the pump in position. So an in-bra device faces a new loading situation. And yeah, so we use some finite element methods to model it up and simulate what is actually happening when we put a pump into a bra. And we also then sliced, look into the cross-sectional situation of the breast, and really try to figure out how the ideal shape would be to have an even compression load on different breast anatomies. So this upper body situation and the analysis of it, we then converted into a design that is kind of best matching the situation, which ended up in an avocado shape. And you know this from Aureole, so the breast shells, and also now in the bra pump. So yeah, so we identified there's a broader underside of the pump that is beneficial to have an even load distribution and prevent some potential problems. But of course, it's also a limitation to this method. I mean, there's a lot of different bras out in the market, but I think we are the first one to really look at it and optimize the device with that knowledge.
Right, there's always more to learn, right, Andre?
Yes. Yeah.
But exactly. No, the focus was to protect that delicate breast tissue and allow the milk to flow freely. And so with the assumption now that we have a great design that allows milk to flow freely, we'll jump into the second part of the presentation, which is about making sure the pump is in the right mode at the right time. So when milk is flowing, we want to be in that slower, deeper suck cycle rhythm in order to optimize the amount of milk we can get out of that first letdown. And today, this is a very manual process for mums, and this becomes even more difficult with a wearable because mums are perhaps multitasking, or it's obscured in a bra or under a garment, which means the mums can't see and detect when a flow is occurring. And why is this important? Well, the whole idea here is that from a clinical standpoint, we know the following. We know that the first flow of milk, the first milk ejection will occur after around 1 minute. And that's whether we have a baby applied to the breast or whether we have a pump applied to the breast. And we can see that down here in this chart. So along the bottom axis is time, and we see some time passing along before the first flow event, which in this graph is dictated by the grey bar. And so as this grey line goes up, what you could imagine seeing as a healthcare professional is jets of milk from the nipple, right? So as it goes up, it's imagining psh, 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 psh of jets, milk flow increasing over the period of around 90 seconds, and then it will subside as that first milk ejection is over. Then we'll get subsequent milk flow events as well. But that very first milk flow event is the strongest. These are muscle contractions, and the strongest is the first, and it will yield 36% of the total volume the mum will pump. So this is really, really important. And today, the baby does this so elegantly, right? The baby just naturally switches its rhythm. And I'll show you here a chart from an infant sucking vacuum trace. So what you see on the left is the baby starting to apply fast sucking rhythms. So we call that non-nutritive, or in a pump, a stimulation mode. The dashed line marks milk ejection occurring. And then you see the behavior of the baby change. He's now in a more of a nutritive, slower, deeper cycle rhythm. And we want to go into that slower, deeper cycle rhythm because this is good at getting milk out. So the baby's really clever. He attaches to the breast, he applies that constant latch, and he seals his nipple in nicely in his mouth with that constant latch vacuum. He sucks quickly, and then at milk ejection, he just elegantly switches across from that faster sucking rhythm to that slower sucking rhythm and optimizes milk output. Now, what does this look like today in pumps? Well, it's a really manual process, right? Pumps have that stimulation phase and that expression phase, but the mums need to watch. They need to watch until milk flows, and they'll see that by jets of milk from the nipple, right? And when they see those jets of milk from the nipple, then they can switch by pressing a letdown button or a mode switch button, whichever comes with whichever pump. And to do that at the right time, so as soon as milk flows, that's when we're going to optimize that first milk ejection and get that 36%. But anything that gets in the way and delays that switch means the mum will be in the wrong mode for a long period of time, and that could decrease her overall milk output. So in saying that, I challenged Andre and his team to try to embody this clinical value in trying to ensure that mums don't need to do this process manually and to switch the pump automatically. And when I asked him in this presentation now, can you just present the flow sensor? Very simple, right? Andre said to me, well, actually, no, it's more complicated than that. This would be the right time actually to talk about the whole technology, because that's how we can really explain this specific switch. So I'll pass now to Andre, who will talk about fluid field technology as a whole and talk you through how the pump works and how it allows the magic to happen.
Yes, thanks. Yeah, engineers like to have challenges, and now the fun part started for us, of course. So you said you want to have auto switch. So first we need to understand what does this actually need, what knowledge do we need to have this auto switch done. So for proper sensing and providing functionality such as this auto switch, it requires kind of to step back and then see look into the architecture that we have had so far. How can we improve? What new technology do we need? So it's not so straightforward, but it's also, as I said, it's quite a fun task. And so, yeah, the auto switch function, we then quickly seen that we have to change quite a lot on the pump, and there's of course not the only function we looked at. So there's more benefits if looking into new technology. So you see here actually this cross-sectional schematic view of the Edenbrough pump, the Magic one, and I can say that if you read here fluid-filled technology, it's actually a combination of new Medela invented technical elements and solutions, and they are kind of unique to the system. So because we really stepped back and take a new start here. So where is now the magic hidden in this pump? And I will show you. So let's have a look at the different elements. So we start, of course, with the drive. So the core element, and you see it here at the bottom part is the core element, is the spindle drive. It's a unique silent spindle drive. We optimize this, and it gives us the quietness of a Edenbrough pump that we need. And it's an efficient drive, and it's also kind of simple. So it's a low technology complexity. So we can really have a good industrialization of it. And if you move on as a next element in our fluid field technology, you see here actually the spindle moving back, which is then increasing the volume system, which is actually proportional to the vacuum that we generate. And let's go on. And of course, where there is vacuum, there is also milk at the end. So it motivates the breast to express some milk, and you see it. Until now, this technology is like the conventional one we already knew with the air-filled pumps. Now the difference starts. We've actually allowed the pump, or we forced the pump, the tunnel space to fill up completely, push all the air out. Yeah, another positive effect of it, and it was also a little bit intentional, is that we have with this two-chamber vacuum system, we actually recreated a little bit the baby mouth situation. So we have a constant latch vacuum, it's also called baseline, and the baby mouth conditions like lubricated and milk surrounded environment. And it also, with this hydraulic coupling, I call it, there's a new sensational feel. So the new vacuum is kind of perceived as a different sensation. So that's fluid field technology in a nutshell. So this is the kind of the fluid field technology, the core elements to it. And yeah, I hand over back to Daniel to wrap it all up for you.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Andre, for explaining where the magic is hidden in the pump. And yeah, this is just coming to the close of the presentation, really. So in summary, you can see that the pump is functioning on a hydraulic principle, which means that milk fills and remains in the tunnel throughout pumping. This has some benefits in that the nipple will then be surrounded and lubricated by breast milk, and that warm temperature of the breast milk may well continue to warm the nipple. And we do know from published studies that a warm temperature on the nipple is and has a positive impact on milk output. That constant latch vacuum that Andre described, similar to what the baby does, mums do notice this, and it results in minimizing that full back and forth movement of the nipple with every suck cycle. So it's a much more gentle sensation on the nipple, which is really positively perceived by mums. And finally, yes, we've got our automatic switch sensor that we requested. So mums don't have to switch manually, and they can have peace of mind. Yeah.
Yes, and of course, there's also more to come with magic. And we talked about the fluid field technology as the core element, but it's not the only thing in magic. And we can be proud to say there's a lot more to explore from you.
I love how excited you are, Andre. It's been a pleasure. So yes, we have thought about the Magic Pump from many angles, from the comfort perspective as well as the performance perspective, and then just the overall tasks and experience perspective. So we hope that you've enjoyed that, and we now pass over to Sonia, who will reveal the magic itself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for listening.
Hello, my name is Sonia Kessler. I'm the EU product manager responsible for our personal use pumps at Medela. Today, I am honored on behalf of the team presenting today, but also on behalf of full Medela, to present to you as a world exclusive, the Magic In-Bra pump. And I'll let you see for yourself.
Scientific research has led us to the next big step. The Magic In-Bra from Medela. With fluid field technology, it doesn't compromise on performance and gives you all the benefits of a wearable pump.
So at Medela, everything that we do, at the heart of everything that we do, is the mom and the baby. So when developing Magic In-Bra, we looked extensively at what is the mom's perception, what does she need, what are gaps in the market. We did extensive market research, and one of the key things that we found that was very interesting was that with the current in-bra pumps in the market, mom has the perception that she needs to compromise between wearability and in-bra performance. And interestingly enough, what we found is that some of the key aspects that exactly what she needs. She wishes for an in-bra pump that allows her to move flexibly, to move comfortably, and not compromise on the performance of the pump and get the milk output that she aspires to, or that she's also used to with her traditional pumps. So that's why the team at Medela developed the Magic In-Bra. Our Magic In-Bra combines performance, comfort, and discretion all into one personal use pump. Because we say at Medela that good care means not having to make compromises. So with our Magic In-Bra, we didn't. It's the first in-bra that is gentle and wearable for unmatched performance. So what are the Magic In-Bra key benefits? Magic In-Bra is truly unique that it combines the strong performance, yet is very gentle on the breast. It has the fluid field technology, which is very innovative and is inspired by the natural feeding on the breast that allows for powerful pumping that is nonetheless very gentle and comfortable on the breast. Additionally, it's the first personal use pump of its kind that has the trusted hospital performance that we see with Symphony by having a similar pumping pattern, allowing for comfort and efficiency. What was very important to us when we were designing this pump is that we're able to have a responsive and reliable performance. So this is controlled by our sensors, which are integrated into the pump. The benefit of this for the moms is that it allows for vacuum stability, but also that the pump then is able to switch directly from stimulation to expression mode automatically. Additionally, what was very important is that we have the unique Medela anatomical shape that matches the shape of the lactating breast for ultimate comfort, discretion, but also supporting the milk flow because it prevents the milk ducts from being compressed. The pump is ultra slim and has a leak-proof design to allow for this discretion. What also allows discretion, what we saw from research, what is very important to moms, is that the pump is quiet and lightweight. That's why we developed a pump that is silent and is amongst the lightest available pumps in the market so far. Of course, we also have our 105-degree wide-angle breast shields to help express more milk. And what we saw, what's important to moms, is that they have the reassurance that not only is their nipple alignment proper, but also that they can see that their milk is flowing properly as well. So we've designed a transparent top view at the very top of the pump so that the mom can see that everything's on track. And additionally, we went one step further, implementing a night mode, which is an illumination of the tunnel so that even at night, mom can rest assured that everything's working well. What was very important is that we wanted to recreate as much as possible the natural sucking of a baby on the breast. So we have allowed for a constant latch, which helps to prevent leakage, but also is very comfortable. This is because the breast nipple is minimized in its movement from back and forth because of this more constant latch, allowing for a very comfortable experience. And in today's world, the most important thing, or one of the most important things for a mom, is the connectivity and the discreetness. So our pump allows for discreet remote control via the app, but also easy tracking to ensure mom has everything in one view. And lastly, we know a mom's hands are full. She has a lot to do. So we wanted to take one more worry off of her mind. So with very little parts to make it easy to clean and assemble. What I still wanted to dive in a bit deeper is this hospital DNA for at home and on the go. So our research and our experts in the field looked at what babies do on the breast. And what we see is that babies intuitively build vacuum quickly and then gradually release it to get the most milk out. And our Symphony, which is the #1 brand in hospitals, has already successfully imitated this behavior. And we have developed our clinically proven Symphony pumping pattern to ensure the best balance between comfort and efficiency. Magic, the first of its kind in terms of personal pumping, has now fully embraced this hospital DNA. It has a very similar pattern to the Symphony pump. You also see it here in the graph. It allows for a quick buildup, a comfortable hold, and then a gentle release, promoting milk output and really optimizing that pumping comfort. So, what do the moms say? We have already tested on a small batch, and the results and the feedback have been so positive. Moms have been saying they've been getting a much more milk. It's very comfortable. It's a game changer for them. They almost forget that they're pumping because it's so comfortable. So we're really seeing great results so far. So summing up, we are excited for a new era of pumping. So come join us on this journey as we reintroduce or introduce Magic into the world. Magic will be launched at John Lewis already end of May as a global exclusive, and thereafter we'll have a staggered launch approach globally. Thank you very much for your time.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon from Munich, and a warm welcome to our speakers now live. Thank you very much, dear Nicole, Amanda, Daniel, Andre, and Sonia for those insightful presentation. It was really a delight to hear reflections about the motherhood of yesterday and today, and to hear how science and engineering was turned into our new magic innovation. We have no time to ask a few questions to our speakers. I will start with you there, Amanda. You mentioned in your talk maternal ambivalence, feeling conflicting, often contradictory emotions toward motherhood. Do you know if this also affects the topic of breastfeeding and what should be urgently done? by Medela and maybe also healthcare professionals to support moms in this field?
Absolutely. Yeah, both anecdotally and in the scientific literature, there's plenty of evidence that moms have a lot of conflicting feelings about breastfeeding, which I think a lot of you will probably recognize or empathize with. I think in terms of what professionals can do to help moms with this, the scientific literature actually has looked at this, and what it says is that it's really important not just to normalize breastfeeding, but also a mother potentially having struggles or having conflicting feelings about it. Things like saying that, breastfeeding is natural or easy, it might be well meant, but that can actually wind up making moms feel a lot worse. So that's one thing. And then another thing that surfaces as well is moms can feel more shame and embarrassment about breastfeeding or having difficulties with it when it's presented as something that has certain rules that you have to follow, otherwise it's not going to work. So when practitioners are, talking to moms about breastfeeding, obviously presenting, the best evidence, kind of what's shown to work the best is of course important, but also just allowing for the fact that each mom is an individual and might need to have some flexibility in terms of how she makes her own choices, can really go a long way towards helping mothers feel seen and heard on their breastfeeding journeys.
Okay, thank you very much. And we are really looking forward to work again with you in the near future. Now I would like to pick up a question to you there, Danielle, and there, Andre. With MAGIC and the fluid field technology allowing the auto switch and an optimum breast drainage, it seems Medela has already explored many fields, how to improve a breast pump. What do you think as a scientist and engineer does need to be further explored?
We follow the scientists. So Danielle, please.
Yeah, I think I'm so excited. There's still so much more to be discovered when it comes to breast pump technology. And we actually kicked off today a first mother in a clinical study that we're running with MAGIC. So we will continue to learn with this device how it works and what other tweaks we can do. The baby is the gold standard. And so considering we don't fully understand how the baby breastfeeds and how he does the magic that he does at the breast yet, there's clearly so much more to discover. And the other thing I think is really interesting is that very tiny changes can make a big clinical impact. So yeah, I think that there's tons more to explore, and I'm very excited about the future of breast pumps.
Oh, and
yes, maybe I need to add that this is kind of the basic version of pumps from MAGIC, and there is kind of technology built in that still needs to be further developed to become a feature. And yes, since we know about system change, we can measure this, what happens in the system, we can really understand what's going on during a pumping session. This is then, of course, something for the future to work on, new features to come.
Yeah.
There is also a question from Jeanne. Is this effective with colostrum during day 1 to 3 or better with increase of copious milk on day 3 to 5?
Mm-hmm. So, well, given the fluid field technology, it would be an advantage to have more the copious milk after day 3. So right now we wouldn't be the recommended. We would say Symphony with Initiate would be the go-to, because Symphony with Initiation technology is also serving to program the breast, right? But once this system can be fluid filled, then this can work really well. And Andre, is it around 10 mLs? You can maybe give the techie number as to how many mils are needed to make it filled.
Yeah, it's more like how much volume is filled with milk, and of course with different.
And the nipple. Yeah.
So it's
once you get around 10 mLs,
yeah,
you can use this really well.
And how much does the container? I think there was this question. How much can it contain in total?
150 milliliters. As a bottle, more or less.
Mm-hmm. And there is also a question regarding the availability in hospitals.
Yes, I can probably answer to this. I see also a lot of availability, not just in hospitals, but also in the different countries, right? So on behalf also of the team that is preparing the launches, we're currently available in the UK. We have the first sales in Australia as well as in China. And we're obviously planning to expand in Europe as we speak. Also looking outside of Europe with into the US, etc., depending on the registration timeline. So one country after the other will be in the situation of actually having the pump. Thanks also for the question of whether it's available in the hospital. No, for the time being. Interesting thought though, but for the time being, we're just focusing on the mothers and the home usage.
Thank you very much. The time has really run very quickly, and some other questions are popping up in the chat. So don't hesitate to continue to ask questions, and after the webinar, we will answer you personally. I thank you again, the speakers, and now back to you, my dear guests, because we are going now to share 2 survey links for you to give us feedback. Your feedback is, of course, very important for us. So it would be very nice if you would take a couple of minutes to answer those short questions. And before closing our magic event, I would like to share 3 last things with you. We are going to share some slides for you to see. Exactly. So as our dear CMO has already shared with us, we are in the process of introducing and launching MAGIC in Europe. Some countries had already a congress, a midwife congress in Germany, for example, and we are going to have further congresses in the rest of Europe. So on the map, you can see the dates where you can then visit us on the booth and have a touch and feel with MAGIC. The second thing I would like to share with you is to make you aware of the European Symposium taking place on November the 13th with a live streaming for online participants. We will share with you live important lectures about novel advances in neonatal care, optimizing mother's own milk volume in at-risk population, and bridging the gap, working towards 100% human milk and breastfeeding beyond discharge. And last but not least, we warmly invite you to visit our professional hub with lots of valuable information for your work with families and for supporting our common mission to protect and support breastfeeding. We thank you very much for your participation, to have been there today, and wish you a very nice evening. See you soon in a future event online or on site. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot from the to
Bye.
the
Thanks
team
for
and to
joining.
everybody listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.